You don't know.
Hey YouTube fam, it's your girl Leah back again with another video. In today's video, as you can see from the title, is a video I'm just gonna call our YouTube courses, our Instagram boot camps, our blogger masterclasses, our women's empowerment groups scams. Are they the new scam of 2020, 2021 in the future? We're gonna talk about it and we're gonna get into it in today's video and really my opinion on the matter. I posed this question because I saw an article about how there will potentially be a rise in the blogger boot camps, the women empowerment groups, the YouTube course trainings and all that in this post-COVID and kind of during the COVID time virtually, with the rise of either unemployment of some people and as well as just people who are looking for hobbies, who are looking for side businesses. They've been having a lot more free time when they're not going places, eating out, doing the things they normally do, so their mind begins to wander and they want to start things like blogs and YouTube and businesses all together. And so with that comes the rise of people wanting to teach how to do blogs, YouTube, Instagram, businesses, and want to empower women in general. So there it will potentially be, I guess, a rise in it in the late 2020, 2021 and all that. So I wanted to address that as we see, or we are about to see, an increase in those type courses, what people think about them and what the general thought of them. Now, what I've seen, whenever I see a master class, an influencer class, there are either two very distinct extremes. It's either it was a waste of time, a waste of money, and it was a complete scam and I want my money back, or it's completely helpful, it was everything I needed and I'm going to use it and I intend to use it to grow. There is two camps. There's no in between. It's either extremely hated it or extremely loved it. And I've been to a couple of all of this in my past, and I'll kind of share my experiences and whether I feel like, you know, my time was wasted, it was extreme waste of time, or it was, you know, very impactful. Let's start with the realm I'm in, YouTube. Let's talk about the YouTube paid courses, the YouTube or content creator paid courses that I've risen. Typically, they can range from anywhere between, you know, $50 to $300 at the high end. And what it is usually someone teaching you how to grow your YouTube. Typically, somebody who does have a substantial following on a YouTube platform or on an Instagram platform or wherever they base and host their content. They have a high enough, maybe not extremely high, you mean it could be anywhere from 100,000 to maybe even 500,000, who are teaching you how to grow your own platform. And it's typically taught by somebody who actually grew theirs organically. So they use the tips that they are sharing with you, but they, you know, didn't attend a class to obtain those tips. This is something that they learned through trial and error, and now they're kind of trying to condense, you know, their trial and error to you in a compact little format, which is great, isn't it? Who doesn't want a little compact, nice and neat little, you know, binder of this is the information and this is going to help you grow. Now, there are two issues with that premise. My first issue with that premise is you're typically, you know, talking to somebody who may have started a few years ago, whether that be, you know, 2011, 2012, 2013. They started years ago. 2011 YouTube is way different than 2020 YouTube. 2011 YouTube and 2020 YouTube look distinctively different. So they're teaching you how they grew to 2011 to 2020, and you're starting in 2020. Now, me, myself, I started YouTube and making content specifically on YouTube in July of 2016. So for 4 years now, I've been creating content. But when did I start a YouTube account? Meaning, when did I create a YouTube account to be able to watch YouTubers, watch content creators? So I look back, I started in May of 2018. That's when I, you know, put my email address down saying, hey, I want to be able to like, subscribe, and comment on people's videos, because that's what you have to do to be able to subscribe to people. You can't not have an email address connected. So that's when I fully decided, hey, I love this person. I love Jackie Ina, who at that point was called Makeup on Point 08, I believe. At that time, I love her enough that I want to be subscribed to her and I want to get emails and I want to be push notifications on this content creator. So that is over 12 years ago, and that's the time I decided to create an account. Who's to say I wasn't watching YouTube in 2007? I just didn't have an account. I wasn't enthralled enough to actually subscribe to people. 2008 is when I actually decided, hey, I want to subscribe to people. 2008 YouTube, the YouTube I used to watch in 2008 is not the YouTube I watch now 12 years later in 2020. There were a lot less, I'd say, options, you know, and it's not that it's hard to start now because the market is saturated. I'm not one of those people at all who believes that you can't start now because the market is saturated, but I will say the people who started earlier, their growth has probably skyrocketed in comparison, just because when there's only one option, you know, it's kind of easier. When there might not be as many people who look like me on the internet, so I'm gonna subscribe to the majority, or if not everybody who looks like me. It's different when the internet looks way, you know, more diverse now than it did back in the day. So my options of subscriptions, the options of people I could subscribe to and watch daily, was a lot less than it is now. So I say that to say that some of these courses are taught by people who grew up at a different time. They grew their channel at a different time. So it's not to say, again, that you cannot grow and learn from somebody who, you know, started a long time ago. It's just to say, manage your expectations when learning from them to, you know, hey, that's something that really worked well for them in 2015. Even 5 years ago, it was way different. Even when I started, it was way different. 2016, when I started, you didn't have 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours. It was literally maybe 1 year, or maybe like less than 1 year after, is when they implemented the new changes of 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch time hours. And luckily I think I'd already hit that, so it didn't really matter. But it changes ever so much, you know. Again, last 4 years has changed even drastically. It's going to continue to change. So again, just manage those expectations. And I also want to come out and say, I'm saying all this, but how do I feel about the content creator who's teaching the class? I say get your money, get your bag, girl. I'm always for somebody getting a bag. I am never going to be like, oh, you know, this person is scamming you, this is a scam. No, honey, make your bag. This video is more so geared to those attendees who have those negative or extremely positive things to say manage your expectations. They're going to teach the class regardless. Whether you get something out of it or not, it's kind of up to you and what you're kind of looking for. The number 2 point I will say is that I think YouTube and Instagram, we don't own those platforms. I don't think that. I know we do not own them. We personally, I do not have a vested stake. It is all up to the algorithm, and I know people hate that word, the algorithm, on what will happen. We don't control the algorithm. I just exist within the algorithm. I have no control over it. A lot of what has happened to me and my channel is luck. It's a bunch of luck. I did what everybody always says do. Be consistent. For a whole year up until, you know, I actually had my first viral video, I'd say I uploaded 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, at the exact same time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Did not take a week off in that whole year of posting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I did the consistency thing. I uploaded great content, so I thought, and I had good quality. I think in September, I started my channel in July. I filmed on the iPad. I switched over to my first camera, which was pretty great quality with that first ever camera that I had, and I had the quality. I had the thumbnails. I had the consistency. The thing that you'll probably hear a lot in a lot of these courses, those 3 things I had. But what I didn't have was a video that did phenomenally well. And that was my first ever viral, I say viral, I mean viral enough for me, a video that grows exponentially over a point in time, in which it was, you know, I uploaded it, didn't do really good numbers, and then all of a sudden it started doing increasingly well. That's what I call viral for me. No, I don't have a video that's hit 1 million views yet, but you know, I think I have a great amount of subscribers given the level of virality that that video did. I uploaded a video that was happenstance. Literally, my best friend and her boyfriend had broken up that day. She was like, girl, we have to go out. I had not planned on filming anything that day, but if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna put on makeup. And if I'm gonna put on makeup, I was at a point where I'm going to film a video. If I have makeup on my face, a video is gonna get filmed. I don't waste no makeup. So I decided, hey, you know what? Let me put my makeup on. I was waiting for her to get ready. It was gonna take her another 30 minutes. So I decided, hey, let me film this video. I filmed my top 5 crochet hair for swimming. Didn't plan out that video. Didn't have a script outline. Didn't have anything. I just sat down in front of the camera and I was talking because, hey, I did not want to waste any makeup. Had no idea that video was going to do as phenomenally well and take off the way it did and launch my channel the way that it did. No idea. Absolutely no, dumb luck. And right now I have a video that's kind of semi going viral. I don't know, it's still in the early phases. I don't know what it's gonna do after even I upload this video, but when I uploaded it, I'll show you the graph of it. When I uploaded it, it got like 1,000 views. I uploaded it what, June of this year, 2020, and then it just, if you can see on the map, it did what it did. The first day I always get, you know, like 1,000 views on a video, and then it kind of tempers down, you know, on the graph. But then all of a sudden, I think it was late July, a month later, the video spiked up again. As you can see from the map, it spiked up again. I didn't do anything different. I didn't re-promote it. Once I post a video, promoted that one day, I leave the situation. I do not revisit it because I have other content that I'm continuously posting that I don't revisit old stuff. So the fact that all of a sudden I notice, hey, I'm getting more comments on this video. Hey, I wasn't even thinking about this video. Hey, this video is actually performing very, very well at this point. And it's just a video of me showing how I hung like curtains. And that video, again, is against type of my channel. I have a hair makeup type channel. I don't really do a lot of curtain hanging videos, but what I did was I showed on Instagram, hey, I hung up my curtains with command strips. A lot of people were like, oh, can you show us how you did that? I said, sure. So I just made a video for my followers because they asked for it. I decided to do it. I uploaded it in June, got 1,000 views. I was like, okay. And now it's sitting close to 40,000 views right now. What, 2 months later, off the back of what, nothing? I didn't do anything. The YouTube algorithm had full control over that. I had no control. I put the same amount of effort that I always do in all my videos. The same thing goes with my swimming video. I didn't do anything uniquely different at that time. It was just a video for me that popped off. That's the thing about YouTube. There's no science. You think a video is super good. The videos that I spent so much time planning, the videos that I put so much heart in, and then I'm like, this is about to be it. This is the video that's going to do it. It's never those videos. It's literally the videos that are against type for my channel, or something that I did randomly and put no effort in planning, that do the most in terms of viewage. So the thing that this course can teach you, it can teach you the consistency. It's gonna be hard to teach you what's gonna be your viral video. How is a video gonna go viral? There again, nobody, my top 10 videos, who'd have thunk that those were gonna be my top 10 videos? It's just happenstance with those videos. They can always say, do what's trending, do what's popular right now. You can always do what's trending and what's popular right now, but that doesn't guarantee a lot. And what's trending and popular today may be not trending and popular the next day, and that's how these things work. I say this to say there is no magical thing that helps a person grow. There is no, I can tell you these exact words and you're going to do phenomenal and you're going to have 100,000 subscribers. There's no words that could come out my mouth that could, you know, get you there. I can tell you things, but it's never going to be, this is a science, this is, you know, magically how it's gonna all happen. This generation, I say, is more so geared towards I want instant gratification. I want to know it now, and I want the magic solution. And I say that because, you know, YouTube has been around for 12 years, 2008, 2009, 2000, like they've been around for a long time, but the influx of these classes has been what, 2017, 2018, 2020, and it sounds like the future is going to be just an influx of these teaching classes. So how did the 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012 people do it? How did they get to this point? They did the research, they did the numbers, they figured out what worked best for them. They probably had the personality for this. They also kind of thrived from the lack of, you know, people who are on this platform. It's so many variables that this generation, and again, I'm not, you know, crapping on Generation Z because there's a lot of millennials, there's a lot of other folk who probably Gen Xers who go to these classes and expect these same kind of miracles. I'm a part of a lot of Facebook groups, or I'm still a part of them, that I joined as soon as I became and started doing YouTube. So I've been a part of them for 4 years. I still see, you know, the posts come up on my Facebook feed in those groups, and I'll see the posts from people who are like, what is the best time to post on YouTube? What is the best time to post on Instagram? And I'm always sitting here scratching my head because that is not a thing that just anybody can tell you. That's not something that is, you know, for sure this is gonna work. 5 o'clock on Tuesdays, perfect time, that's gonna work for you. This is not a one-size-fits-all business. There is no magical time that I can post and it's going to do phenomenally well. I always say, for me, what works is posting at a time when people are up. I always post Monday, Wednesday at 6 p.m. because hey, my time, people are off Eastern Standard Time. If not, you know, on the Pacific Coast, they're about to be off, so probably can watch it afterward. I'm never gonna upload a video at 5 a.m. That's just ridiculous to me, because those first 24 hours are so impactful in uploading your video that if you don't get as many eyes as you can possibly get in the first 24 hours, logistically, most of the time, the video could go dead, you know, after that. So again, wanting to have the most eyes at the most optimal time always works for me. But YouTube tells us now, YouTube has a little thing. If you go on the YouTube analytics, YouTube is literally trying to help you out, because it'll show you what's your best time to post. You personally, what time is your personal audience? My 85,000. It looks at your guys' traditional trajectory, and it tells me that. So it tells me, it has, you know, the darker purple is when you guys are on the most, the lighter purple is when you're not on. So those would be the optimal times to post. Same thing goes for Instagram. If you have an Instagram create account, then Instagram tells you literally what time is the best time to post, or when the most of your subscribers are on there. If you have the creator account, if you have Instagram and creator version, which again is free, so if you are a creator, why wouldn't you have Instagram creator? Instagram helps you too. These apps are at least trying to help you look into your analytics. YouTube analytics is fantastic. Granted, you know, YouTube, not every video performs well. Sometimes it's not YouTube's fault, sometimes it's the content itself's fault. Maybe it's not the strongest content, but YouTube at least tries to give you every little bit of information it can on why this particularly didn't go well. And again, going back to, I believe this generation has a fixation with getting the information quickly, and they think that paying for the information is going to give them the better information, is going to give them the best information possible. For example, I've probably made 7 videos on this platform about how I grew my channel, how, you know, I feel like consistency helped me, how I feel like, you know, these elements helped me. Probably have 7 videos, none of them have cracked 2,000, you know, viewership, but people are willing to pay $100, $200 for a class. And I think they feel like because it's money attached to it and watching a YouTube video is free, that the YouTuber isn't giving you valuable information. They're not giving you the money-making information. And there's $200 courses, they're probably giving you everything. They're giving you information that the YouTubers aren't sharing because they're scared. No, ma'am. How did I grow? I didn't attend any classes before I started my YouTube channel. I didn't go to any events. I didn't do anything. I watched YouTubers who I deemed as popular. I watched their videos on what they talked about, and they talked about, again, the camera quality, the thumbnails, the consistency, the things that are free to teach that some of these classes are teaching you, and you feel like, oh, I'm learning so much. But no, there are tons and tons of free YouTube videos which will tell you specifics. Now, if you want specific details like working with brands and brand relationships and all that, there are free people. Aaron on Demand on YouTube is an amazing content creator who puts out a lot of free videos twice a week. I feel like, at least I see her often. It might be because I also follow her on Instagram too. But Aaron on Demand, YouTuber who gives out brand information, gives you everything for free. The Maddie James, a blogger, amazing blogger, gives out free information, does live streams every, I think, either Tuesday or Wednesday at noon, giving out information, and she leaves those live streams up for 24 hours free. Again, giving you tips on how to work with brands. She's giving out so much free information that sometimes I'm like, shoot, I feel like, do I need to pay for this? It's so much good free content that people are feeling that, well, there's still more. There's gotta be more. They're telling all this for free, then there's something not being shared that costs $300, and I'm gonna spend that $300, and then a lot of those people are disappointed and they're the ones saying it was a flop because they didn't get the miracle that's gonna take them from 200 subscribers to 200,000 the next day. Now, I went to my first influencer event last year. So 2018, I went to my first influencer event. I think I had been doing YouTube for almost 3 years at that point. And I went to my first influencer event mainly because some of the people on the panel were people I actually looked up to and I really liked. And I would have gone to this event whether I had 5 subscribers or 500,000 subscribers, just because I really wanted to see these people in person. But at the time, I had probably roughly about 55,000 subscribers at that point. So much so that people there actually recognized me. Like, some other content creators there actually recognize me, and it's so great when I see people and they know me from creating content. It hasn't happened in a while because COVID has had me home, but like, it's typically when I'm in large spaces and enough quantity of people are around and that maybe 1 or 2 people know me, and it's always cool. But one of them came up to me and was like, frankly speaking, do you feel like, it was like midway through the event, like, do you feel like this was for somebody like you with your 55,000 subscribers, do you feel like you were gaining anything from this seminar? And then, having been halfway through, I, again, was just happy to be in the presence. I was happy to be around other content creators. I had never been around other content creators. So I'm like, you know, if for nothing else, meeting new people, I think it's great. But the information that was being shared was definitely, I say, geared to somebody who was just starting out. Now, the program wasn't, you know, it didn't say this is for people who are just starting out. It just definitely made a general broad statement of this is for people who are looking to grow, or looking to, you know, expand their horizons. They're looking to really take that next step in their content creating. So that could mean somebody who had 0 and hadn't even started, or it could mean somebody who I believe has multiple subscribers. But a lot of the, you know, conversation that was had during this event was a lot of people, the panelists would speak, and it would be more so telling their history, telling their story, how they got to where they are. So the typical, I worked a 9-to-5 job, I hated said 9-to-5 job, but then I started blogging, taking pictures on Instagram, it started getting traction and all that, so I quit my 9-to-5 job. It was a lot of storytelling about people's journeys of, you know, leaving corporate America or leaving what they were doing. And it was more so, you know, more inspirational stories about being your authentic self. Make sure you're presenting your authentic self on YouTube. Don't be somebody else. It was more so those kinds of stories, not specifics. So again, that's why I feel like it was better geared towards somebody who maybe hadn't started, to give them that motivation to start, to say, hey, this could be you. You could be that person who works your 9-to-5 job, and then you become like me, who works full time and does what they love and enjoys to do. Now, again, I was just happy to hear, like, see them in person, because you just get a glimpse of them, following them on like Instagram. There were no YouTubers, so it was more so Instagram people who I only know them through steals of their, like, I might follow their stories, but they don't, it's typically just the steals of them and their photos. I never get to hear them talk and hear their story. So it was great to hear them speak, but there was a person beside me. I went by myself, so I was scared too, because it was the first time I ever went to like an event by myself too, and I'm like an introvert, so I was like, I'm really gonna do this, I'm really gonna speak to people. So I sat beside somebody, and I didn't know her, but we got to try, and she came by herself too, and she hadn't even started an Instagram, she hadn't started what she wanted to do. She was even like, I think I want to blog, but I think she was still in that, I think I want to do this, and I think I want to do that. And then talking to some other people there, some of them were in the I think phase. Some of them had just started and maybe had like 500 Instagram followers, but some of them were still in the I think phase, which I was like, this is interesting, because, you know, you got me here who's been doing this for 3 years and who's had an Instagram maybe following of like 10,000 at that point, 55,000 YouTube followers. I had, you know, at least some traction on my social medias, whereas I was around people who hadn't. And who's to say who was wrong in the event, who didn't belong, when the event wasn't clear? Hey, this is for people who haven't started. This is for people with 100 subs. This is for people with 500,000 subs. It wasn't clear on who exactly the market was. So who's to say I shouldn't have been there and I like was expecting something that wasn't gonna happen? Or who's to say she was in the wrong place and she shouldn't have been here? You know, it seemed like the people who hadn't started yet, maybe that was more geared towards them. But again, the advertisement, the marketing for it didn't really promote it as such. And most of the time they don't promote it as such. They make it as general as possible, because general talk typically gets you the money. Being specific sometimes can alienate, and sometimes alienate some coinage. So you want to be as broad as possible, saying this will help you grow. And using the word you grow could mean like, hey, somebody with 1 million subs could be like, hey, I want to grow. And somebody with 1 sub could be like, I want to grow too. So you can get that whole market. But on the flip side, women's empowerment events. I know I talked about content creating events, you know, influencer type events, but women's empowerment events are, I think, in a different form. They're a different kind of element. Women's empowerment events, I've probably been to at least, I'd say 4, and they didn't always have the word women's empowerment, like this is a women's empowerment event in the title. They use words like living your truth, or, you know, women's seminar, or they have different words, but you know you've been to a women's empowerment group when it's like one of those, you're not leaving with so much so business knowledge or Instagram knowledge, but you're leaving with a feeling. And that's what I say about women's empowerment groups. Now, I've been to like maybe I'd say 3, none of which I paid more than $25 for, but I actually really enjoyed them. And what I mean is, I've been to women's empowerment events, and it's the same kind of sharing story. So I got the same from the influencer event I went to. Again, it was somebody who stood up and shared their story of being a corporate and being a 9-to-5 and then switching over to being an influencer. And the women's empowerment event that I went to, one of them I went to, one lady got up and spoke about her journey where she worked a corporate 9-to-5 job, and she's pretty much a prevalent person in Charlotte. Like, if you like watch TV, you've probably seen this person. But she was talking about her kind of journey working at a news station and kind of feeling or being not discriminated against, but not being able to speak her truth. She wants to speak on Black Matters. She wasn't able to speak on Black Matters as much as she would like to, so she left that organization and was therefore later hired by a company who embraced the fact that she speaks out on issues going on in our community. And this again was 2 years ago. I probably was 2018 when I went to this event, and it was powerful because no, it wasn't sharing your story of how you know, went from working to went to Instagram full time, but it was really story of living in your truth and what that means in corporate America and what that means for you in corporate America. And I think after leaving that event, that's almost when I think I went to that event before I left my last job, and I got in my current job, because I was kind of in a still at my last job. I was kind of in like a funk where I started my YouTube channel because I was so unhappy at my last job too. It was one of the elements that helped me create this channel, was the unhappiness at my last job. Going to this women's empowerment event, again, it was just on a whim. My best friend wanted to go. I was like, I'll go too, you know. I think this one was actually free, where she actually spoke. I think the free ones make their money off of having a lot of vendors there, and there were a lot of vendors there. But she spoke, she said her truth. She said, you know, I want to work for an organization that actually respects me, you know, this, that, and the third. And I think the next woman's journey was also her journey through corporate, and it was just more so people's journey, people sharing their experiences. And after I left that event, I was so invigorated, like, I want to live in my truth. I want to work for a company that values me, so much so that I started looking for jobs and then eventually landed upon my current job, which was amazing. But I left that event invigorated as a woman to do more. Not to say I didn't feel anything when the content creators were telling their stories of working 9 to 5 to then working for themselves, because of course I would love to work for myself too. But I'm always, you guys know how I am about Instagram and YouTube. I cannot fall back on Instagram. I'm like an older millennial. I don't know if I'm an older millennial. I'm 30, but I'm also of the mindset that I've seen the start of YouTube. I saw the start of cell phones. I saw the start of computers. I've seen the start of a lot of things. So I'm in that in-between phase where I lived in a world pre-cell phone. I lived in a world pre-Amazon Fire Sticks. I lived in a world pre a lot of things. Pre-laptops. Were laptops even a thing? They weren't prevalent. You know, I went to school with desktops. I lived in a world that looked different than the world I live in now. So that's why I don't 100% trust the world post, you know, 2025. I'm not that risk taking. I'm not somebody who will take that risk, because I don't know what is after YouTube, because I never would have thought I would have a phone. Like, I would have never thought I lived in a world where I have a cell phone. So I don't know what the future is. So that's why the stories of quitting my 9 to 5 to be a full-time Instagrammer don't resonate as well with me, just because I would love to do it in the short term, but say this all crumbles and again we don't own these platforms, they all shred and they all go under. I've been out of the work market for 5-6 years. I might not be as equipped to what campus recruiting, and that's what I do now. I'm a campus recruiter. I might not know what it looks like 5 years from now. It doesn't even look the same as it did last year, quite honestly, with COVID and doing things virtually. So I don't know what it's gonna look like in 5 years. So I'm more hesitant to quit and be full-time Instagrammer. So I think that's why the stories didn't resonate as well as me as they did with these women empowerment groups, and hearing women leave situations, whether it be romantically, whether it be job, whether it be all that. I leave these situations and I feel empowered when I go to them. Now, would I pay $200, $300, $400 for the same type of information? No. Why would I do that when I've gotten the same great information for $0? Again, look at the people on the guest list. I say this with women's empowerment, and I say this with, you know, your influencer groups. Look at the panelists. Make sure you're going to an event where people who actually, you know, you want to hear speak are actually speaking. And that's the thing I'll say, you know, with the panelists for the influencer group that I went to, there were people who had great numbers, who are actually people I would love to meet and have a conversation with. Same thing with the women's empowerment group. One of them I went to actually didn't know any of the people on the panel, but they actually turned out to be really well. A lot of my women's empowerment groups I am actually dragged to with friends, but I'm actually always pleasantly surprised. So that's the thing about, you know, going to any of these events, is knowing the panelists. Don't be upset when you don't get the information you needed when the panelists weren't the people you needed. I mean, why would I go to an event of growing my Instagram if I see somebody's engagement on their Instagram is only 200 likes? Now, it'd be different if that person who only gets 200 likes per photo said, I make, you know, 5 figures a month on Instagram. Now I'll listen a little bit. Now my ears perk up if they say, you know, I'm making a whop with my only 200 likes, then the conversation shifts. But if they're only 200 likes and then they're trying to teach me something, it'll be a little different. Some of the advice isn't one size fits all. The thing like Maddie James and some of these other influencers who they pay photographers, they have on-call photographers to take photos for them and post them on their Instagram. And even me, I'm always like, I want to up my camera quality. So when I went to New York, my best friend, who's not a photographer but might as well be professionally, took amazing photos, one in front of the Empire State Building, one in the front of the Brooklyn Bridge, which was an amazing photo. It almost looked like nobody was behind me, even though there were tons of people on the Brooklyn Bridge, with the way she kind of stylized it. I've gotten more likes on photos with me in my parents' backyard with my sister taking it with the iPhone 8, where I didn't pay her anything, but I might have, you know, gotten her 2-piece from Popeyes. Like, my audience doesn't typically like when I put anything stylized. When I put a picture up that is like, I put my heart and soul and sweat in taking this, I went uptown Charlotte and I took this amazing photo, they'll tend to like more of a picture that I took right here in this background. So I have to know my audience. Some advice isn't one size fits all. Me paying $200 to a photographer probably is gonna only yield me a photo that my audience isn't really like. My audience doesn't like when I bring that type of content, but you know, the Maddie James's audience does. When it's that more stylized photography photo, her audience eats that up, whereas mine is not here for it. So that advice doesn't really work for me, and that's the thing with anybody's advice. It's not one size fits all. Hiring a photographer may work for you, might not work for me. But again, that's my thoughts on these courses and these events. And there are some courses like business building courses, or you're trying to start your own like line of business. I have one friend who's doing like a confidence boot camp where she teaches you kind of professional speaking and all that. That's something that is, I think, needed. That's a boot camp or a class that would be needed. Not all of us know how to pick up a camera and talk to it. Not a lot of us know how to broadcast. Not a lot of us know how to do these things. I didn't when I started. It was something I had to learn through trial and error. If there's a class that you can take, feel free. That's something that is worth value. But teaching you how to manipulate something like YouTube, which is something that is very hard to manipulate, it's tricky. It's a little tricky. But you guys sound off down below in the comments. Let me know your opinion on this. Do you agree? Do you not? You guys know I love a vigorous conversation down below in the comment section. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any of this good content. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at LeahLamont89 so you can keep up with my shenanigans in real time. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Double